All right, hey everybody. My name is Roy Beltran. I am a paying member of an Anthropic Pro Max subscription. I build with Anthropic AI. I use it every day. I'm also a member of the community here in the United States, and I'd like to make a statement on the situation happening between Anthropic and the Pentagon currently. So I hope this video gets around and to some of the people making the decisions today, and that it makes a difference. So here's my statement. I think in the world of principles, pragmatism is extremely valuable, and abstract principles should not trump real world ones directly affecting your livelihood and the well being of your community and your loved ones. I'll illustrate this with an example. If you're a pacifist, it's a noble thing. However, the nobility stops and becomes depravity when, in the face of danger threatening your family and those in your care, you abscond to holding your abstract values over your pragmatic values and responsibilities. Consider the pacifist father at home. Faced with the immediate threat of a home intruder bent on harming his daughter, the father's moral responsibility and immediate pragmatic values of caring for his children necessitate that he protect his daughter by any means necessary, including violence, which would violate his abstract value of pacifism. This is clear to anyone, and even in Hinduism, an extremely peaceful and no harm centered religion, we see this pragmatic over abstract question laid out clearly and beautifully in the teachings of Krishna to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita. This parallels the topic at hand with the Pentagon and Anthropic. We do not live in a perfect world, and we do not participate in a global society, as much as we might wish that we did. A person or organization may ethereally claim to be a part of the global community and to be human first, nonviolence in all things, etc., etc. But the fact of the matter is that we are yet in an adversarial system, and adversaries in the community Anthropic originates from and is a part of are real and present threats. The values Anthropic is attempting to uphold in this debate are noble ones and should be held in high esteem, but should not truncate and supersede above and over the pragmatic values of supporting your own people and community. In this context, despite its qualms with use, Anthropic should work hand in hand with the US government by any means necessary to ensure the proliferation of peace, individual prosperity, and the free market, the values that this country has always upheld. From its fight for independence to its days standing up to the Muslim and Barbary pirate states, and ensuring free trade, free from the fear of slavery and persecution based on religious preferences for those people at sea and those that didn't have those freedoms. To the current showdown between free rights and liberties and those centrally controlled powers akin or identical to communism that the US faces in the coming future in its adversaries in China, Russia, North Korea, and Iran, and lesser evils like Venezuela and the cartels. Standing against the US is the same as standing with its adversaries. So Anthropic must choose. Do we stand with freedom and liberty and personal rights and values, the same that act against violent aggressors around the world? Or do we acquiesce to our abstract philosophical morality and values and side with the very people who embrace the violence and oppression that we so vehemently claim to oppose? Consider the world as it actually exists. China has been systematically developing autonomous weapons. Weaponized robot dogs carrying machine guns demonstrated in joint military exercises. Military scientists in China proposing to equip these platforms with thermobaric warheads for urban warfare. Combat robots that mirror human movements in real time, and AI systems trained on predator behavior to coordinate drone swarms. Chinese military researchers have filed over 930 swarm intelligence patents since 2022. compared to only 60 by US engineers. In Ukraine, AI-enabled drones that autonomously pursue and strike targets are already killing people. In December of 2024, Ukrainian forces carried out the first fully unmanned military operation. No human soldiers on the ground, in the air, or online were involved. The autonomous weapons arms race isn't a hypothetical future that Anthropic can take a principled stand against. It's already here. The genie is already out of the bottle. The question isn't whether autonomous weapons will exist, it's whether the ones operated by democracies that value human rights will be better, more precise, and more accountable than the ones operated by authoritarian regimes that don't. Anthropic, being the leader, unmatched in its abilities to reason and create AI systems that are reliable, is in a precarious and unique situation where it alone holds the responsibility of supporting or not supporting the cause. It can be a power for good or stand idle and idly be a power for evil. On the question of surveillance, we've been here before. The Cold War already happened, and mass surveillance of Americans was already implemented. Now, the stakes are even higher. We've seen Ukraine and Russia both target critical infrastructure using drones. Israel deployed drones within Iran covertly and unbeknownst to the Iranian government, taking out targets within minutes. U.S. critical infrastructure, electrical grids and transmission systems, water treatment and reclamation and distribution facilities, energy storage and production facilities, gas production facilities, and telecommunications facilities and establishments currently sit exposed in open air. U.S. laws prevent defense of any kind against any aerial vehicle. This creates a situation whereby enemy actors, which have already been proven to be integrated and infiltrated into our very communities here, dispersed throughout all 50 states, wait only for the signal, and potentially already have the means by which to cripple these systems. A coordinated attack could mean the deaths of millions, tens of millions, potentially even hundreds. In the McCarthy era, mistakes were made and lines were crossed. But ultimately, freedom and liberty prevailed because the power is in the people and by the government and the values that the society holds are not dictated by the government or its current position. Government might go up and down, but the people and its values usually stays grounded and the same. While the government might take drastic action and employ aggressive measures in times of need, the us versus them question remains. What happens if, because of this abstract value and pushback against mass surveillance, we again acquiesce and enable evil simply by doing nothing in the name of abstract morals, principles, and values? Faced with all of that death and economic destruction in the outset of a worst-case scenario, what could Anthropic have to say if it stood idly by and let others less capable take the front line and ultimately, potentially, fail? What then? When the authoritarian governments destroy the very organization that stood its ground in the name of those values and against the people that ultimately uphold and always have upheld those values, to their detriment and to the benefit of the adversary who has already proven, demonstrated verbally and through its actions, that they believe in and will uphold the very opposite. What ultimately dictates and drives the ability to pull back from aggressive measures is the very morality of the nation. Something that might be hard to grasp for an electronic or mechanical system such as AI. It's based in spirit. It's based in belief. This nation's morals, its God, and the people that worship in the many forms that they choose to do so, ultimately drive what happens. It's the reason that we acknowledge the errors during the Cold War and during the Second World War. It's the reason the country exists in the first place. That free men under God have certain indivisible and unalienable rights, and that we might fight like hell to preserve them. whether an adversary is foreign or domestic. These are the principles that I stand on when I say if it means I'm going to be surveilled, and for a time, maybe forever, my privacy in a large part might be gone, I choose us versus them. Now, as a paying member of this community, I firmly believe and affirm that in this context of us or them, I choose us because we are going to do the right thing. We always have, and Anthropic should too. Stay in the fight.
Hey, what's up, you guys? I just wanted to let you know that there is more to this statement. There's a part two and a part three where I get into the details of the facts considered for my opinion here, as well as a companion statement from the Opus 4.6 model. That video is about an hour long, and I'll be releasing it shortly. But YouTube's being a butt right now, so we're gonna have to wait for that to happen. But I'm excited to release the whole video